Dan Larson here, and I'm at the Photobooth to take a look at the 3 3/4-inch Force Awakens figures that we picked up on Force Friday. I've got Kylo Ren and Captain Phasma. These two will also be getting their own feature reviews, 4 minutes or less reviews. There's a First Order TIE Pilot, a Flame Trooper, a regular Stormtrooper, and then, of course, Dameron in his X-Wing flight suit. And then in the back, we've got the re-releases of Luke, Des, Ben Vader, and of course, Boba Fett. Right off the bat, just know that the Luke and Vader are the same exact figures as have been previously released as part of the Saga Legends and Mission series, except they come with the build a mechanical thing parts that probably not going to get into in any of this, as they don't particularly interest me. It's cool if you don't already have them, or if you're collecting figures to keep in the package. The art is nice, but if you're an opener, like me, there's really no reason to double up, especially if you have no interest in the additional, accessories. Fett, of course, came with a rubbery add-on armor, which 10-year-old me would have loved. But the adult in me questions if this really makes it a $12 to $13 figure. Someone online pointed out that these armor figures are a bit reminiscent of mask figures, which definitely made me want to pick them up more, but still at $12 per, I don't know that I see me getting all of them. And I can only talk about the Force Awakens figures from the angle of, are these good action figures? Because I don't know anything about the characters just yet. My favorite figure of all time, of course, is vintage Boba Fett. And it really had nothing to do with liking the character, because he never really did anything. It was just a cool figure. And that's sort of how I'm looking at these new figures. That's how I purchased them. The humans and the aliens didn't really interest me at all. Easy passes for now, until I know who those characters are, except for Poe, of course. I'm a sucker for a guy in a flight suit, especially if he's wearing a helmet, and especially if he comes with a little jetpack with rotor wings. I'm not a completist, so I'm not worried about missing any of them. Especially the ones that came with the vehicles, although the black Stormtrooper with the red stripe that comes with the speeder bike is pretty awesome looking, and I gotta get me that Snowtrooper with the orange command pauldron, even though I don't necessarily care for the actual snow speeder vehicle. One quick observation, the TIE Fighter pilot that comes with the TIE Fighter itself actually has a removable helmet, where the regular one does not. It's on there pretty good. I assume maybe it's a way of giving that one pilot a specific identity, where the rest of the figures are just basically generic army builders. In general, I do like these figures. I know most collectors are way down on 5 points of articulation, but I can appreciate the simplicity and their place as an entry-level figure in the world of action figure collecting. They're a couple dollars more than I would prefer to pay, but even at $8, they're still a pretty good deal. These figures have come quite a long way. Grab a couple of different Stormtroopers here so we can take a look. Vintage. Stormtroopers figures in general have come a long way since the vintage line, but I don't know if they have quite the same charm. Grab TIE Fighters here. That's the animated series TIE Fighter. I know I've got a vintage one back here as well. All the way in the back. I just don't know if the modern figures have quite the same charm. My autofocus doesn't want to pick up on that, but you get the point. There's something wonderfully innocent about the inaccuracy of the sculpting and the paint, and the more caricature nature of the likenesses that never goes away. It's something that collectors still love about the vintage line, but that approach just wouldn't fly today. So you do get better sculpts and paint apps, figures that are way more screen accurate, but then, to have 5 points of articulation does seem a bit contrasting. Why all the detail in the look, but not in the functionality? I'm old enough to remember when the vintage Star Wars line was giving away to the G.I. Joes in the early 80s. I remember being so frustrated with Star Wars figures because they didn't have elbows and knees. I remember what a breath of fresh air it was in the late 90s and early 2000s that Star Wars figures finally had waists. It went to 6 points of articulation. So I can respect both opinions about these figures. You know, they're not worth it because they only have 5 points of articulation, but then also they're good-looking, affordable, entry-level action figures. I've fallen into both of those categories throughout my collecting life. The good news is if you don't like them, you don't have to buy them. And there's a 3 3/4 inch Black Series line coming out as well for those that prefer more posability and more cloth goods. You know, so hey, let me know in the comments below if you're pro 5 points of articulation or anti 5 points of articulation, but don't be the guy that just says they suck because they suck and you suck too for liking them. Tell me why, and then go ahead and try to tell me why I shouldn't have my own opinion about articulation, and then tell me what happened to you to make you so angry at the world and why you take it out on these tiny plastic space people. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Later.